Hello everybody, sorry my video got cut short there. RT News published the meeting between USA and Russia over Ukraine, high tensions. Had to jump into that, had to share that as well. I cut the video right away. So I want to finish this, and in fact it gets into more, and I really want to focus on just how badly corrupted Canada is in its entirety, just how bad Canada reports statistics worldwide, how they present themselves on the world stage, and how that is not even close to reality, does not match most, if not all, the UN states, the 193 nations. At least they're honest. There's two others as bad as Canada, Australia, New Zealand. We get into density, ladies and gentlemen. I put that at the end of this video. Density of the country, not even represented in any kind of truth whatsoever. I tag world news organizations of the Big Five, the P5 in this video, why it's important and why it should get out there and people should know what Justin Trudeau and his state media, CBC, are all about. World records us 4 people for every kilometer squared. That would be true if that land was available to the citizens of Canada. That's not true. Not true for the vast majority of all Canadians and First Peoples. In fact, it's so disproportionately represented, it's not even funny. To put it in perspective, I'm going to present Russia here right now to everybody. Did you know, Canadians, you could go to Russia, whether you could live there or not, or wanted to live there or not, in northern Siberia? You can purchase a hectare for 140 Canadian dollars. Did you know that, Canadians? No, you didn't. Because the reality is, most of this country, it's almost 90%, 88.76% of Canada, almost 89%, is not available to any Canadian or First Persons, none whatsoever. Now, you can go enjoy it. Yes, there's hunting rights for First Peoples, but the reality is you can't scratch out a living there. You can't live there. You can't build a home there. It's called squatting. Whether you're a first person, Métis, Inuit, or a second or third class Canadian, you have no access to it. Now, if some regions settled the provincial crown lands more proportionally than others, yes, province of Alberta leads all of Canada on this front, and it's still pathetic, it's still disgusting, it's still a joke. It was a big portion of my presentation for the independent Alberta, trying to get to a real UN state status, a real country represented as the 193. Canada is not there. Neither is Australia nor New Zealand. These are pathetic realizations of a crown autocracy, very, very old. Canada being absolutely the worst, number one in the world. Lie to Canadians, they lie to the entire world. The world has woken up to that. In fact, the United Nations member states have woken up to the joke that Canada is. Much faster and at a larger rate than Canadians. Canadians are suppressed. I could go into internet connection, speed, how all rural is completely kept in the dark. We can go across Canada and show that, just how much has been done. I thank Mark O'Reilly for a lot of his work on that, looking at internet speeds, what's available to the average Canadian, how programmable we really are, how easily it is to do when you don't open the airways like the rest of the world has. Now, are there denser regions than Canada? Canada truly is 32 and change per person, and that's how many people per square kilometer. It's actually 32.21 Canadians per square kilometer in Canada, because that is all the land made available to you that you can purchase, build a home on, and that is what you pay taxes from. This is why housing crisis. There's no other reason. You won't find any UN states, even communist China, they have 2.5 times more land available than you do, Canadians and First Peoples. That's a fact. Anyone telling you otherwise is historically a liar. You will find the same thing for Australia and New Zealand if somebody does that work. It is not my country. I won't be doing the work. I do know that this is the country system. Further than that now, the big push in endemic. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is moving into endemic. Russia's been existing in endemic. Regardless of what Putin rolls out, he enforces nothing because he would have literally millions of Russians aiming to destroy him. And when I say that, they have a different version of destroying somebody. Putin would never even attempt it. He has made it very clear since the pandemic began. He will follow what health provides, but he doesn't really enforce anything on it. You will find 18 regions of Russia through their division of powers. I would love to present that constitutionally to you all. I'm working towards that. That is the great achievement I'd like to get from the Federation of Russia. I'm going to go there with my friend Ian Bjorkman. We're going to go there. That is the work we're doing this summer. Whether or not I can get the protocols done and to Russia's satisfaction, Canada is screwing me over. I don't want to get into that today, but Canadians, you're all being screwed over by none other than the politicians here in Canada, led by Justin Trudeau, the filthiest, most corrupt, as bad, if not worse, than his father. But again, ladies and gentlemen, for all the nations of the world, this P5 and your major news companies attached to you, I give this to you that Canada's moving against CDC and absolutely against the Pfizer data. How did they do that? Justin Trudeau mixed vaccines. He mixed vaccines so that it's corrupted. The data is completely corrupted. He didn't just do this on a small scale. He did it on a massive scale. If you were an intelligent enough Canadian to follow the protocols, care enough, and put yourself through that, if you chose to do the vaccinations, you would have the clear statistics. I'm having trouble getting my third dose statistics. I don't know what that's all about. We're going to see high conflict for myself this coming weekend. I'm not going to work this weekend. I'm taking it off as I have a major presentation, but I also have the issue of my personal data, my third booster, not being released, not to the Ontario government and not to myself. I'm having issues, folks, and it's not small potatoes. It's absolute corruption. We saw CBC reformulate the entire video live of Justin Trudeau 2 days ago. I am going to look at CTV's status, but it looks as though his statement on Joe Biden releasing mandatory vaccinations against SCOTUS on international, meaning he would have to, and he could do that, but he'd have to do an executive order and still breaching the Constitution. But he can do an executive order bypassing all democracy. That's a presidential right. Justin Trudeau clearly stated in the live 2 days ago that that's what Joe Biden promises to do. Joe Biden has not released anything like that. We haven't seen it. It's been 2 days. We'll see over by the end of next week. Is it true or not? It's not my claim. It was absolutely publicly claimed by one Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, live. Millions saw that in various news sources that watched it. It got circulated. Now it's being erased. CBC publishes a brand new one. And for Mike Bloomberg and Bloomberg News, you were completely scrapped. Your writer, your journalist, Brent, went live there. He was given his question period. That's been stricken from the record, completely erased. Can even see where it's cut out as one of the female reporters from a news agency is just about to ask a question, and it cuts out. 47 minutes versus the hour and 19 minutes of the original live. where there was no translators, there was no deaf people doing sign language for those of the hearing impaired. There was none of it. There was none of it. Now there is in a re-presented Justin Trudeau fake live where they cut a whole section out of the video. 20 minutes, more than 20 minutes gone. Ladies and gentlemen, and world stage, world leaders, world news organizations, does this country, Canada, look as bad, if not much worse, especially in density? These are world statistics. How can the world allow nations like Canada to get away with false reporting? Density's huge. Vaccine mixing against manufacturers' specifications. Health services in Canada, both on the federal and absolutely the division of power of all provincial levels, distorted and went with their own narratives. Now, they did not create the vaccines. They didn't follow any scientific, real studies of the vaccine manufacturers, which I tag all of you 5 world leaders. This is for all Canadians, all First Peoples. They developed the vaccines. All 5 of them did. There's a couple other big nations in this world that also did do vaccines. They had a vaccine rollout. I believe it's 7 in total. But the reality is, Canada didn't follow any of your manufacturers, legally registered manufacturers' protocols, none whatsoever. In fact, in the end, at the final stage of the 3rd dose, which promises endemic, ladies and gentlemen, Canadians and First Peoples, whether you believe in the vaccine or not is not the issue. All your different ideas, whether they're based in science or not, or whether you're of a faith that doesn't believe in vaccines, that's not the issue here. The issue is here that the 5 allies of World War II rolled out in a massive Operation Warp Speed of then President Donald J. Trump. The world got behind it. Russia got behind it. China got behind it. UK and France. The 5 World War II allies, those who run this world today, who are deadly against NWO. And what did Justin Trudeau do? When it came to providing the stats, he mixed all the vaccines in the 3rd round boosters just here last month. He's ignored many of the protocols of the vaccine manufacturers from the 5 allies. But in the end, he corrupted all the data. And then those who followed the data, like myself, at least for Pfizer, to get that out as quick as possible. My body, my choice, my statistics to present to my people as best as I could. It's being removed from me. It's being taken away by one Justin Trudeau. There's no other answer. CBC now goes into everybody. The Star and others are going into, oh, there's a huge cry for 10-day isolation periods. There's no way to go with world stats from the world allies as we watch UK enter an endemic because they followed the protocols, because they are of the protocols. They didn't even get AstraZeneca there, but they went with all 5 nations, and Pfizer was released. Pfizer protocols observed, absolutely, in the United Kingdom. Those stats released first, because why? They were the first stop. It's why I chose them. It's why I chose them. And a lot of UK did that. A lot of the UK did that, as AstraZeneca had some issues and some problems. But in the end, Pfizer was made available to all UK citizens, and the protocols were all followed by the Boris Johnson administration. Can you believe this, Canadians? And then I wonder, the big news companies that all represent their nations, the allies, the 5 allies, how can you sit back and ignore Canada at this time and Justin Trudeau? The rest of the filthy autocrats are oppositions. This is exactly like South Africa. You all know whether Canadians and First Peoples understand this. You all know and have clearly logged the South Africa precedent in international law and what you all did. It was led by China and Russia, which for everybody, that was the United Soviet Socialist Republic and Communist China. They're both communist at the time. They led South Africa into a free democracy. All five got together on it. In the end, it took 10 years. They did it. They did it. And all of that crown land of Africa was released. And now you see a whole bunch in properties released. Other issues of others and farming and all that, we're not going to go into that portion. But the reality is, it was released to the people and in a free democratic society going forward. Nothing as their autocratic crown regime was before that. Done none other than by the Five Allies. Now, these five news media companies attached, I threw in Bloomberg because you were cut out. I threw in CTV because CTV actually logged the whole thing live. I'm going to review that and see if that video still exists as its original. But CTV knows it. The producers, owners of CTV all know absolutely what has happened now. How can you be a journalist in the country of Canada now? How can you be a journalist involved in something like that, knowing what you know? How can Bloomberg sit there knowing what Justin Trudeau has done, being a part of that live? Brent, you were the journalist, you were there, you even got your question period. To see it all erased, to see Joe Biden's Justin Trudeau's statement of Joe Biden acting as though Joe Biden, claiming that Joe Biden is going to release some kind of executive order, because you all know that's the only way he could do it. That's what Justin Trudeau claimed. That's all been erased. It was done live. Are we now not at a point where clearly the government of Canada lies on the world stage, lies to the UN states, lies to reporting programs? You know they've left international law. They abandoned the ICJ. They've created a fictitious ICJ, International Court of Jurists. Some of you get paid for that, I get that. But what you're allowing to happen to the Canadian people is a gross travesty. The report I'm doing, there will be a follow-up for UK as well too, a follow-up for China as well too, on different writings, different narratives. You're all going to get it. France as well too. But this Sunday, it is absolutely for all of you in your entirety. I'm going to give that presentation specifically for Russia, for USA, on a blindness they don't see. Very detailed, very well articulated. I've been working on it for many weeks to get it right, to get it in plain speak so that you all understand. But specifically, it is for Russia and USA at this time. My hope is that they will take a step back and do you understand the legal speak? Because you need to, and you clearly don't. And I can prove that. I'm going to prove that to both nations in the entire world in a very wellly articulated piece. A nice, what is a report basically. It's like a paper for a university, but it's for the P5 allies, specifically for Russia and USA, proving beyond any reasonable doubt that both nations have a blinder on by your design. It's the same blinder. It's the same blinder. You two very powerful allies don't see it, and you don't see what's right in front of you. And I'm going to make sure all five allies are going to get it, but you two are going to get this presentation before Ukraine goes too far. Possibly. I don't think it will anyway. I believe this is just going to be another Cuban Missile Crisis. But we're going to go there. We're going to go through everything for both of those nations. And I hope, as there's some very talented writers going through Georgia, I'm writing the major piece on Georgia like nobody else, as it really is, not only in history, but as it really applies to the blinders of USA and Russia, specifically that portion for Russia. I'm going to go into the United States on a whole other section, and then we're all going to tie it in together at the end. I'm nearly done. I have a few more days of work. It's a lot of pressure, and I'm going to get it done. And it's going to be done for all of you, and specifically for those two allies, because it's time to knock Justin Trudeau off his high horse. as well as Aaron O'Toole, the Conservative Party as it has existed in this nation, as NDP and all of the rest of them. It requires an intervention, just like South Africa. Not only dismemberment of the Constitution and complete redesign, but it requires absolutely voiding the elections, voiding the political party systems entirely, just as was done for South Africa. That takes China and Russia leading it, and USA grudgingly going along because they have to constitutionally. We'll see that. I think it won't be like that. I think I can make a peace that fits in well with both Democrats and Republicans entirely, and maybe, just maybe, the right people, like the people tagged and the organizations tagged in this video, maybe they will take it and they will run with it. At least in their academics, they will take the time to eat that information, that intellectual property as it really is, and maybe it will make a difference. Thanks, everybody. That's my video. I am completely disgusted with Canada, as always. There are so many truths that need to be put out there, and I don't know, are we going to remain in restrictions, lockdowns, forced masking, business closures, on and on forever? Are we going to allow our politicians to corrupt data from manufacturers of drugs that many Canadians stepped up to the plate for, to do the right thing, at least for prosperity? Never mind what the results were going to be. Why does Canada in the first class get to take that away from us? Why do they decide that when other countries, as we watch UK, roll it out as it really is? Canada's nothing like the UK, because Canada has remained the old UK from pre-League of Nations onward. That's what they've been, and that's what they will remain. It has to be ended. Not years from now, many decades, as long as you allow it, as long as you allow the royal family, you, the P5, you, these Five Nation medias, and those trying to grow up, as long as you allow Canada to continue, you are allowing a $12 trillion war against the institution, the very soul of a nation, the United States of America, to continue, a war to continue on your people and your institution. This is the same for the institution of Russia and the Russian people. As long as you two countries continue on with the blinder, you're going to allow that $12 trillion war to continue against both your nations and both your peoples forever, dividing you, strangling you, destroying you. And just wait, Russia and USA. I'm going to blow you both away with just Georgia alone, like no other has ever done that. And it's not about how many people read my paper, my piece, but absolutely about all of you reading that. And we'll see what the media companies think of that. God bless everybody. Have a great day. One more day of work, one more tiring day, and then it's all about finishing my works, which are nearly done. I'm not as far as I'd like to be, and I know the pressure's on as I get hit with Russia and USA. Another tense meeting today as we all watched them go in this morning, and I hope it works out. Okay, everybody, bye now. And share. Important truths here. Important truths. And I don't know, 10-day lockdowns or 10-day isolation periods, it's all about destroying the people in a full-blown lies. Lies that are real, credible, and verifiable. Lies of isolation periods that shouldn't be. Because why? Justin Trudeau corrupted the vaccination data of all Canadians. And he doesn't have to follow manufacturers of the rest of the world. They got paid. But what do you think, allies? What do you think, media companies? Are you going to allow tyrants like this in the world to continue? They're usurping you. They're destroying you. They're wrecking you. It's a $12 trillion war, and Canada is front center of it. And it is NWO, the real one. Thanks. That's my video. Bye now.